Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast. At last, we are at the final segment of today's show, and it should be a great one. We are going to be previewing and predicting the Stanley Cup Finals in terms of fantasy, in terms of storylines. It should be a banger of a segment. Now, before we get into that, we have to congratulate the Edmonton Oilers out of the Western Conference. A fantastic run through the Western Conference Finals. Exhilarating performances by a lot of their big guys and a couple of their role-playing guys. And this should be a very exciting Stanley Cup Finals, but I just wanted to congratulate the Edmonton Oilers at last in the Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl era. They are in the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time since 2006, so it's been a long time coming for this Edmonton Oilers team getting to the Stanley Cup Finals. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to Connor McDavid. Let's hope he has a fantastic series and not disappoint neutral fans of the NHL who are expecting him to carry the load, and that should take us right into some interesting storylines for this one. Obviously, the top 3 point scorers of this postseason, all Edmonton Oilers: Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and Evan Bouchard, the young defenseman who has had a breakout postseason campaign, coming up against a Florida Panthers squad who has spread their production all around. I really think this is a very well balanced and defensively structured Florida Panthers squad. They don't necessarily have that number one option that the Edmonton Oilers have in McDavid. They have a bunch of these guys who just produce when the time is asked of them. And so I think this is going to be a fantastic series that could go the distance, but let's wait on the predictions now. It should be very special. But another one of these storylines that I'm really excited and interested to see play out is the goalie battle, because Sergei Bobrovsky, he is a favorite for the Conn Smythe Trophy based on his postseason performance this season. 12-5, 2.20 goals against average, 908 save percentage. Fantastic postseason for him. He has been a huge reason as to why the Panthers' defensive solidity has held up so much. On the other side of things, you have a goalie who has been very controversial in between the crease for Edmonton and Stuart Skinner, but these past couple of series and these past couple of games for him have shown that they truly do rely on him, and they really love him over there in Edmonton. Stuart Skinner, 11-5 in the postseason, 2.5 goals against average, only an 897 save percentage, but a lot will fall on his shoulders and rest on his shoulders as the Edmonton Oilers go into the series, mainly because the Florida Panthers are kind of different from any other team that he faced in the Western Conference. They just have so much versatility, and you really don't know what to expect when you're a goalie facing the Florida Panthers, because a goal can come from anyone and anywhere. However, let's go over to the Oilers. We talked a lot about the Panthers last episode and talk about the reasons why I think that they can make this a series and they could potentially win this series. Their penalty kill has been nothing short of incredible. 25 consecutive penalty kills. Only 3 power play goals were scored against them, and they were all in the Canucks series in the Western Conference semifinals that went 7 games. A 93.5 overall penalty kill percentage for this Oilers penalty kill unit. This was a unit that was middle of the pack in the regular season. They have just amped it up in the postseason, and that is a credit to Coach Chris Knoblauch, who I also want to acknowledge in this segment. When he came into the Edmonton Oilers, he had only coached in the AHL and junior hockey. The Edmonton Oilers were 3-9-1. They were something like 19 points out of the wild card spot behind the Seattle Kraken and the Dallas Stars. So that just goes to show how much Chris Knoblauch has transformed the culture of the squad, made them a very defensively solid team, not necessarily based all around Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. So kudos to Chris Knoblauch for saving the Oilers season. He is a huge asset as to why they are in the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time since 2006, and the first time in the McDavid and Draisaitl era. But also let's look at how the Florida Panthers match up for them. They obviously are not necessarily known for being that good on the power play, so the Oilers do have that advantage there. But they definitely do have the players and the production along all three lines. They have the better goalie. I think that is a matchup they are more confident in Sergei Bobrovsky. So look for the Panthers to kind of rely upon everyone in their lineup, but especially Sergei Bobrovsky, as the Edmonton Oilers will be looking to create a lot of high-danger scoring chances. They are one of the best power play teams when they are on the offensive in terms of power play in the NHL. So look for that aspect to come through. But ultimately, I do think the Florida Panthers match up very well with this Edmonton Oilers team. They have the players to overcome the Oilers' potent penalty kill. I think they might be able to score a couple of power play goals. They also definitely have much more depth and experience in the Stanley Cup Final than the Edmonton Oilers. It's the first time the Edmonton Oilers have been in the Stanley Cup Finals, like I said, in a while, but the Panthers were there last year. So the Panthers know what it takes to reach that mountaintop. Obviously, players like Alexander Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk have been here before. They know this is their not their first rodeo coming into the Stanley Cup Finals. So ultimately, I do believe that this is a huge series, well balanced. I think the one thing I really like about the Panthers is that no matter who they acquire or have already had in their team for quite some time, they just produce for them. Guys like Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Bennett have come over from other teams, mainly the Calgary Flames, and they have just been fully integrated into the squad without any hesitation. That is a huge credit to the Panthers front office. I think they are a huge reason as to why they are in there. They've just made the shrewd, astute moves that the Panthers needed to get over that hump heading into the Stanley Cup Finals. But that brings me to my special prediction. Ultimately, this is a series that can go the distance, but I do not expect it to. And one thing that I really want to hang my hat on this prediction is it's a bold one. I think that this is going to shock a lot of people. I think that it definitely could happen, but I'm not holding my breath. But let me tell you a little story. In my lifetime, as a sports fan, a very diverse sports fan, I hail from the state of New Jersey, so not many good sports teams. I have had a very diverse sports life, seen most of my teams win in my lifetime, except the two that are in the finals in their respective leagues right now, the Celtics and the Oilers. Obviously, I was 6 years old when the Boston Celtics won their last title, and I don't necessarily count that. I do want to see them win with my own eyes, but as you know, that makes the Edmonton Oilers the only team that hasn't really won in my lifetime. And as a superstition for both of these teams, because they haven't won in such a long time, I don't necessarily watch them as often as other die-hard fans of their teams root for their fans, because I'm kind of scared about the narrative surrounding both these teams. They have such fantastic, talented players they've built to get to this mountaintop for many, many years. So I don't really watch them. I don't really watch pundits talk about them that much, because I kind of don't necessarily like this kind of narrative surrounding this negativity that is produced from those pundits. But in the Edmonton Oilers Western Conference semifinals, I had the opportunity to watch the first period of Game 7 in that game. And one of the most pivotal moments in the Edmonton Oilers series came in the couple final minutes of that first period. They have a 4-minute double minor penalty against them. At that point, they had had all the momentum in that game. They outshot Vancouver. Vancouver had nothing, but this could have been a huge momentum shift for the Edmonton penalty kill. But what I saw in those 4 minutes was a heart and desire that the Edmonton Oilers had not displayed for quite some time late in the postseason. They wanted to win this Game 7. The Vancouver Canucks did not get off a single shot in that 4 minutes, and that just goes to show how much the Edmonton Oilers culture has changed from when Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl were first drafted. How players like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Darnell Nurse have been through it all to get to this point. How younger players like Evan Bouchard, their defensive unit like Matthias Ekholm, Vincent Desharnais, other guys like Philip Broberg even, have been integrated into this team, and how Chris Knoblauch really has created a solid identity that the Oilers can hang their hat on, and that is the reason why they're in the finals. That 4 minutes was one of the 4 best minutes of defensive hockey I have ever seen in my life. That just goes to show the Edmonton Oilers are here and they want to win. So without further ado, a very special prediction is upcoming. I'm going to give it to you, not from myself, but from a trusty dusty partner in Alexa. Alexa, play La Bamba.
La Bamba by Richie Valens on Amazon Music.
Edmonton Oilers fans, get excited. I am taking the Edmonton Oilers in 6 games because of the fact that they have taken forever to get to this point. As an Edmonton Oilers fan, I just want to see them get over the hump. They have the stars to do it, but that will just about do it for today's show. Like, follow, and subscribe to the show. It means a lot to the network. Man, this song just gets me every time, man. I hope Edmonton Oilers get to play it when they hoist the Stanley Cup, but that should just about do it, man. I've been Chris Shepard from the GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast. We will come back tomorrow with another great show ahead. Goodbye. Have a great, fantastic day, especially to my Edmonton Oilers fans. See you tomorrow.